Alright, me little fishy on a dishy. Here is Cables number 6. And this is one of my favourite runs that I didn't think I have talked about before. This Cable series that was alongside the Mutie Messiah, Extinction, War, Utopia years. It ran for 24 issues and it was mostly off in its own corner, doing its own thing. It was pretty independent from the ongoing drama in the other Excellent Men books, but it was still very relevant. Cables, he went off into the future to protect and raise the Mutie Messiah, but he was being hunted down, and for the first 15 issues we had great art by Olivetti, and this series was doing a lot of interesting genre bits. We had sci-fi stuff, we had western stuff, we had Cables trying to raise a child. The worst bit is how much they sabotage Mike Tyson as a character. Truly ruined forever. He commits genocide in his mission to shoot a helpless baby. Irredeemable. But the thing is, Mike Tyson raped a woman, so he was irredeemable anyway. This issue, it focuses on Cyclops, and we introduce him with a softcore porn scene with him and Emma Frosties. And this is the perfect way to start anything. This is brilliant. This is my favourite couple in comics, and this issue does them a great service, and a great service to Cyclops in general. Cyclops is often painted as being a bad dad, and only some of that is accurate. This issue shows his determination to try and help his time-travelling son, and he has sex with Emma Frosties. Perfect issue. I'm not crazy about the art thing going on. We have two artists. The scenes with Cables are drawn by the book's regular artist, but these bits with Cyclops, these scenes set in the present, they are drawn by someone else. Not that there is anything wrong whatsoever with this wonderful art. We also have a guest appearance from Excellent Force, and some nice tight continuity between Cables' series and the new Excellent Force book. Cyclops is so determined to make sure that his son is safe that he okays Excellent Force killing Mike Tyson if it comes down to it. Again, I will point out this command decision. This is Cyclops being pushed to the edge, and its context is important. He is worried about his son, and Mike Tyson killing his son. This is a dad's command, not the superhero strategist Cyclops' command. More sexy sex times with Cyclops and Emma Frosties. You could very easily point of this period of Excellent Men has been one of my favourites, down to how much sex we see between Cyclops and Emma Frosty's. They have an insane amount of sex throughout, and this is the best sex in comics because it is an easy self-insert for me, having sex with my dream woman. This is a good standalone issue, so if you are wanting to read it, but you didn't want the burden of reading the rest of the run, even though it is nearly all good, you can read this one by itself. If you are a Cyclops fan, but you didn't really like Cables, this is very good by itself. Then we are back to the Dream Team. It's not just for the selfish, orny reasons. I legitimately like these two as a couple. They are right for each other. None of that nonsense, idealised relationship with the whore. Cyclops is allowed to be a flawed person. His flaw is that he tried to hide his flaws to the degree that he entered into a marriage based on expectations of him, and he was afraid to ever express his true nature in said marriage because it was contrary to his repressed feelings and desires. He is himself with Emma Frosty's. He is allowed to be himself and not the perfect muty superhero leader. And she has a similar thing where she is finally her real self with him. We have a nice little scene with Cyclops and Cannonballs discussing Cables. And it's funny that Cannonballs is apparently taller than Cyclops. And not just taller, significantly taller. If you look, he is a bit hunched over there to talk to Cyclops. Standing straight, he is a good half a foot bigger than Cyclops. Then we have two portfolio pieces showing the times that Cyclops had to say goodbye to Cables. And after this, what is either Cyclops being lovingly comforted by his best girlfriend, or them having some quieter sex after Cyclops has emotionally exposed how much he cares and worries about his son. I would like to think that it is the former, but with these two and the self-insert aspect, I cannot say I wouldn't want sex with her, even after crying about how my son is probably dead. Boobs. Which leads to more softcore sex. I love Emma Frosty's. I love her so much. And all good porn ends with a nice emotional gut punch about Cyclops wanting to raise his sort of granddaughter from the comfort of his home. And he decides to leave a message for Cables buried underneath the Excellent Men house. And then in the future, Cables finds it, and we get 5 more pages of Aero Olivetti art. And Cyclops has left an uplifting letter where he says that he is proud of him and that if anyone can protect and raise this child and do what is right, it is his son. And there is one of them rock music groups from the radio, like U2 or the Backstreet Boys. Is it even worth saying anything else about this issue? There's 10 pages of Emma Frosty's porn. And then there is a really nice story about Cyclops and his role as a father. But so much Emma Frosty's porn, 7 thumbs up.